What's good? What's good? What's good? What's going on, everybody? Welcome, everyone, tonight to the Confessions podcast. I'm your host,
Hello.
Duddley. Got my sister here, Ingrid, with me, and like Black people normally are, Black people tend to be late.
Most, but I try to be quite punctual.
I'm trying to start on time. So welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to Confession Podcast. We haven't had this in such a long time, but we're thankful for everybody who just enjoyed the show. We had so many people asking when's the next episode. What are you guys gonna talk about next? You guys gotta be more consistent. You know what I'm saying? We love the show, yada 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 yada. So I felt the pressure, and I feel like with all the summer events now pretty much over, people starting to get back into the routine, whatever your routine is. It might be good for us to get back into our routine.
Absolutely.
And give the people. I'm not gonna steal Jalen Rose's gimmick, but give the people what they want. So, how are you, Ingrid? You good?
I'm good. I'm really good. I mean, like you said, it's been crazy, but I do want to give a shout out to everyone that watches the podcast, because at camp meeting, there were a couple people, they were like, oh my God, like, I know you from the podcast. It's so good. And these were like older individuals, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, you watched it? Like, yeah, I recognize you. So it's been a blessing, to people, and we just really appreciate the support and trying to discuss topics that are relevant and timely.
And I think what's funny is that I guess because of who the hosts of the podcast are, whatever my English is, and I guess based on the energy and what we talk about, it seems as if it's a young adult podcast, and I'm not mad if that's how it's being identified. But I feel like a lot of people dig it. I feel like a lot of people, really like it. And I was at the Hispanic retreat in New England North this weekend, and I had a gentleman who introduced himself to me and said that he loves the podcast. I guarantee you he's watching tonight. I guarantee he's watching. I told him we're gonna have a podcast on Monday. He said, "Yeah, I watch it with my kids," and then afterwards we sort of discuss, what the podcast was, which I thought was like really dope. I really thought I thought that's really nice that it is. So anyway, we're showing the love, and we're thankful for everybody who's just making the podcast good. This is episode 4 only.
But we're gonna get better, people. We're gonna get better. We promise.
We're picking our steam. So today, in our chat room, the 4 of us, we sort of came together with this idea of what to talk about, and today we really wanted to highlight not just we wanted to highlight not just an opinion. We also wanted to focus on an event that's coming up. Oh, right. Look who's backstage. Look who's backstage. Watch. Wait.
Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that, Dudley.
There she is.
Don't do me like that, Dudley.
I don't see nothing.
Hello, darling Ingrid.
Hi, boo.
You say hello to everybody else. Wait for Pastor Michelle
to come. We have to greet each other first, right?
It's only right. I mean, we're here together, Dudley. Come on. Hello, virtual people.
Lord have mercy. And now look who finally came. Bang! Look at him.
Not the last one.
And you know what? I'm not gonna throw nobody under the bus, but we did think he was gonna be the last one. So
I was here. I
saw you backstage. I did.
I was.
I saw you fiddling with your computer.
So are you saying that you let Michelle be third because you didn't want her to be last, even though you saw Edsel backstage?
Nah. All right. I'm gonna be honest. Confession is good for the soul. I forgot how to set up my whole streaming. I haven't done this.
And that, you know what that means? It's been too long.
It's been too long. It's been too long. Because I'm over here like, what this connects with what again? Like, oh man.
Well, said the right finger connected to the can bone.
Right. It's
ridiculous. Well, the gang's all here. I was letting everybody know how much we're just thankful of the energy and the positive feedback we've been getting about the podcast. People just love it.
Right.
Really, really, really love it. And even coming from camp meetings that I've been to over the summer, people has just been raving over the podcast. We just really appreciate the love. We just not just are thankful of the people who support the different age ranges of people that watch.
Right.
So we're really excited about that. So leave a comment in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from, where you're watching tonight, today's podcast. And we just look forward to give you a shout out as best we can. All right. So I said what's up to Ingrid.
You see Berea in the chat?
Yeah.
I see Shane in the I see Shane in the chat. Oh, so we shout out Berea now?
Wow. Listen, I need to tell my people come and don't embarrass me.
I didn't know it was like that. I'm going to tell my members not to embarrass me.
Yeah, tell them to come out. Tell them to come through.
Yeah, we need them to come out. Come on and represent. And, it can't just be,
Outdone by Berea.
Technically, you don't start a Berea till Saturday, all right?
That's true. Let me comment.
How quickly loyalties shift.
Mercy.
Wow. Loyalties get transferred. That's what happens. They don't shift. They get transferred.
Yo, I see my man Pastor Reed over there.
Hey, Pastor Reed.
What up, Pastor? All right, so
hey, what's up, Doc?
Guys, talk to us how you guys been. E, what's going on? Michelle, what's going on? How you guys been during this time of hiatus?
Transitions. James Hall says life is full of quick transitions, right? Yeah, we here. We transitioning.
Michelle, how you doing?
I'm good.
Your lighting is great.
Well, thank you. I'm not home, obviously. So
yeah,
I can use somebody else's equipment for once.
Lighting is great. Okay, awesome. So today, we felt it important. The Confessions family felt it important to highlight and sort of give a preview of an event that Northeastern is doing, the Youth Ministries Department is doing specifically for young adults, and that is you probably have seen the flyer around, and that is the Cancel My Subscription young adult retreat coming up in October, the second weekend of October. And the whole Cancel My Subscription is something that people have been asking a lot of questions about, to try to get an idea of what the event is going to be like. Where do we come up with this idea? Shout out to Pastor Marshall with the actual branding of it. But what exactly it is, what it's entail, what's in store, etc. So I feel like we agree that we're going to give sort of a preview to what that looks like, to go to kind of share with us some misnomers, some things that we need to cancel, some ideologies that we feel like it needs to cancel, whether it's in our lifestyle or to sexuality, and what have you. And we'll just kind of discuss what that looks like on a personal level and on a professional level, depending on what your situation is, and we'll go forward with that. But let's really real talk. Let's first talk about what the event is going to be like. It's coming up in about a month and a week.
Wow.
So yes,
it's
real
almost
quick.
October.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of us that you see on the screen are going to be presenters at said weekend. So real quick, Edsel, give us an idea. Where is this event going to be? When is it going to be? Why should you go?
Great question. So it's going to be at the newly renovated Camp Victory Lake in Hyde Park, New York. So whatever thoughts or feelings you may have had about Victory Lake before now, you got to throw that out of the window with the work that's been done on the campground. State-of-the-art facilities there now. So we will be able to go there and have not only a good time, but also be comfortable. I think also if you go to necyouth.org, you're going to be able to find the information for the hotels that you can book in order to stay for the weekend, or if you want to stay on campus, that's available to you as well. Easy access, burn less gas, and be able to get out of bed a little bit later than everybody else. So that's where it's taking place. We encourage you to attend. I'm excited about the theme though, because when we were talking, we were praying, we were like, man, what all this? What should it be?
What's the date?
Oh, the date. What's the date? Go ahead and tell me the date.
October 7th.
That's right. Yes. October 7th tonight. October 7th tonight. There we go. Listen, I'm waiting on the youth director, the associate youth director, to let me know what's up. It's going to be a great time. We're starting Friday night, right, going all the way through Saturday, and then Sunday afternoon as well. The next Monday is a holiday. So you don't have to worry about, I'm going to get back and be sluggish for work. No, you'll still have time to get back home, do your chores, rest, relax, and be ready for the work day that starts on Tuesday. So strategically placed so that it's not a burden on your schedule. You can come out, have a good time, leave recharged, not only spiritually, but also mentally, emotionally, and physically. So I think it's going to be a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't want you, Michelle, to let us know what you're going to be talking about. I want you to save it. But tell me what you're looking forward to experiencing.
I am looking a lot of things. First of all, definitely looking forward to that game night that we're going to have, that we're planning so amazingly. I'm not going to talk about what's going to happen, but just know that, anything goes that night. So we're excited. I'm really excited about just fellowshipping. Guys, I think sometimes, and we've talked about this, especially in sermons and in different conversations, how COVID really showed us to value just contact, like being able to fellowship with people again, especially retreat style. People, when we're in a facility, like in a church facility, the mentality is very different than when you're able to just kind of leave that area and you're able to worship in a whole different type of space with people that you know and people that you don't know. And it's just going to be like an exciting week, and I can feel it already. I'm excited. My youth are energized. They're like, yo, Pastor, this looks cool. And are you wearing army fatigue? I'm like, no, it's just green pants. Calm down. But it's just, it's so cool to have this like momentum that's going on about what's about to happen and what's going to happen and what's the outline and what's this and what's that. And I'm just excited. I'm excited about all the wonderful things we've been planning that we get to share with everyone and to see everything executed. And of course, it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be things that happen because, of course, human error. But I'm excited because I know that what God is going to do that weekend is going to be tremendous. So,
amen.
Awesome. Ingrid, what about you? Anything else? Anything that you know from the planning?
Number one, I'm looking forward to all of you presenting. And
I see how you did that there, though.
You do like that, right? All of you, but I'll be there working hard, to do whatever needs to be done. I'm really looking forward to Dr. Knight being there Friday evening. So I want to let you know, I know a lot of times we have retreats and people, they want to come up late. You cannot come late because he's presenting on Friday evenings, Dr. Wesley Knight, and you do not want to miss it. So you want to be on time. But like Michelle said, I'm really looking forward to the fellowship. Duddley knows yesterday we had a funeral at my church for Director Pearl Brown.
Yeah.
That was our longtime director back in the day. And
R.I.P.
reconnecting with young adults that I grew up with, some that I haven't seen in years, it was amazing. And so I'm looking forward to fellowshipping with young adults that I know, that I've grown up with in the conference. So all of you better come. And if you have not registered, please make sure you go to the NEC Youth website and you register. It's only $75. We forgot to mention that. It's $75. You spend more on a dinner with your friends. So just register and come out and let's fellowship together.
True. I'm also excited. My mic is cutting out. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. All right. I'm excited for the fact that it's young adult, not youth. Yeah. That we're covering topics that aren't always covered in the youth realm. Like we'll be able to talk about depression. We'll be able to talk about divorce. We'll be able to talk about marriage when it's tough and you got 3 kids and like young adult issues when you're single and you're still trying to figure out what God has in store for you. Like I'm excited to get into some of the layered and nuanced topics that don't always fit in just the youth category, but are very specific and germane to the young adult category. So I think that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think it's a good
words.
Yeah, I think it's a good reminder to let everybody know just how focused this retreat is going to be, and how we, just the team has been very intentional about making sure that it will be a blessing for the target range for the people who are actually trying to go there. Literally, it's a for us by us event. It's young adults planning this young adult retreat. If some of us still classify ourselves as young adults, anyway, that's another podcast for another day. But there was this one time when we were going through.
I'm still young adult. I don't care what y'all saying.
You couldn't let that slide.
You can claim it. I got 2 kids upstairs right now making me deny that reality. But on social media, when we just posted all the speakers and all that different stuff, there was somebody who was asking for an understanding of what that is, and you gave the best explanation of it. That blurb that you wrote on your page was the best. I'm gonna put you on the spot. What is cancel my subscription? What is it?
Okay, so you know how lately they've been dropping these programs that will find the things that you're subscribed to and cancel it for you. I think it just speaks to the difficult nature of canceling certain subscriptions. It's very easy to sign up for stuff. It's very easy to just suddenly, I'm going to buy these shorts, or I'm going to sign up for Sirius XM or whatever, right? And whenever you're trying to cancel, suddenly they won't just let you cancel, right? You know how like you call certain companies and you're like, hey, you know what I mean? Like if you're asking for help, have you ever noticed whenever you're asking for help, they always want you to speak to this machine and press this button and press that. Like they don't want to help you. But if you ever call these companies and you say, I want to cancel my subscription, suddenly now there's an operator and they want to talk to you. Is there anything that we can do? Or when you want to cancel, you have to go like to the bottom of the email and find the special email that they only send out once a month, and then go through like this whole process. And what's crazy about it is that it's so easy to sign up, but it's so hard to cancel. And when you sign up, it comes with these charges that seem minuscule. You're like, oh, I'm getting a deal. But then at the end of the year, you realize I spent everything that I could have used to go on vacation. It cost me more than I ever thought that it ever would have cost me. I've lost all this money because what seemed like a minuscule charge month after month has eventually added up. And we just see that that's the same way that sin works. That's the same way that bad habits work. That's the same way that unhealthy relationships work, where at first it feels like, oh, this isn't too bad. I can handle this. This is okay. But then it begins to add up, it begins to accrue, and you end up losing a lot more than you expected when you signed up. So we believe that this weekend, there are some hidden charges, some hidden subscriptions that people have been subscribing to spiritually, emotionally, socially, financially, in terms of their health. And this weekend, we're about to cancel all those subscriptions. And I'm going to learn to say that word before the end of the retreat. That's all I'm going to say. That's it.
So, and that was good. And so for us, I felt like what we could do as a preview is sort of talk about some subscriptions. Maybe you might hear them again at the retreat. Maybe you won't. But some things, some ideologies, some things that what you might find in life, in church, in faith, religion, romance, etc., that people subscribe to that it's hard to get out of. Why, somebody subscribes into it, what allows someone to get into whatever they get into, and why. And hopefully through this podcast, we can find ways to liberate some people here tonight, to allow people as they listen to certain things say, yo, I can relate to that. I can see how somebody can struggle with that. I need to find my way of getting out of that. And we can do something good. So we're going to go.
Also, I just want to hear from people in the chat if there's anything that you want us to cover, something that you want to see canceled that you just know is pervasive in your life or the life of young adults. Put it in the chat. Like, we want to know. Maybe we'll add it in. Maybe it's already planned. Who knows? But we definitely want to hear from you about that.
Yeah. Pervasive. That's a good word, man. That's a really good word.
I'm telling you, his GRE words are on 100 tonight.
I can't say subscription, so I got to be able to say the other stuff. You know what I mean?
You better show your mastery of the English.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, so we made a deal that we was gonna go around. We was each gonna have one to prepare and to share. So I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna start with Ingrid first. I know I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
I like clockwise.
Can we start with the one that we had in the chat? Because I like that one.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, but that was Edsel's. Okay.
No, what yours that I don't have to I don't have to be.
I'm gonna go with that one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was just saying, I think one of the things that we need to
get that zoom in on Ingrid's face.
Oh yeah. Go.
Our subscription to is this idea that because our treasures are laid up in heaven, we should not seek financial success here on earth, right? I was having this conversation the other day, and so frequently you hear like, well, don't worry about being wealthy on this earth. Your treasures are in heaven. Your mansion is in heaven. And it's like, I understand all of that.
Mercy.
I'm not seeking to love money, but why can't I have a mansion on this earth? Why can't I create generational wealth on this earth for my daughters to have when I'm gone? And I just feel like it's something that's so ingrained in us that we're okay in a lot of ways just being mediocre.
So
did I say something wrong?
No, you said something. You were good. But my thing is, I'm trying to figure out the origin of that. Like, okay, so we hear that sometimes in church. I think a lot of times that comes a lot from the fear of making sure that we're not rooting ourselves towards evil, which is money, because money is the root of all evil. And so that
love of it, yes.
And so the premise of that comes from a fear. And so I feel like what was said ties back to a lot of problems that I think Israel had in making rules for the sake of making rules, or making rules to safeguard certain things that you were afraid were going to be broken. So you make a rule just to guard against a rule, just to guard against the rule so you don't break a principle. And eventually you get lost in the rules that you forget what the principles are to begin with. You see what I'm saying? And that sort of gets convoluted. We get to a point where we can start to feel like those things, like, for example, like what we just mentioned, those things have become the end all be all. And if we break those, we're lost. I don't know if I subscribe to being poor. I don't know if I subscribe to being rich either.
I don't think you have to subscribe to one or the other, but I do feel like sometimes that subscription is so deeply rooted that it's very easy to use it as an excuse when we're not successful financially. Because I've heard it from some individuals that are struggling, and it's almost like, well, I'm okay as long as I can survive, I'll be okay, because when I make it to the kingdom, I'm gonna be wealthy. But then it's like, no, you're lazy. And if you were to do a little bit more, you could have a little bit more. And I feel like sometimes we use these subscriptions as excuses to not do more.
Well, okay. I don't want to leave yours yet. Oh, actually, every time you lick your lips.
Yeah, because one of the things, so I was doing math the other day with a friend of mine, and I think also one of the reasons why a lot of us we're not where we want to be financially is because we're lukewarm. And what I mean by that is that we're returning the tithe and the offering, right? Right.
Yeah, we
Right.
covered that last time.
Right. We're doing that. Or just move on. All right. But then at the same time, like when I see us on Instagram and I see us like living our lives, we're also spending money at the clubs on the drinks. Like, you don't know how much money I save because I don't drink. Like, you know how like when you don't drink and you go out with your friends and they drink and then they try to split the bill, you're like, no, we ain't splitting the bill. I got some Sprite. I got some water. Like, I am not splitting the bill with y'all. You know what I mean? Like, it is financially savvy to live an Adventist lifestyle. I'm not spending money on beer. Exactly. I'm drinking water with lemon in it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not splitting the bill with y'all. But it doesn't make sense. It like you save more money if you just return tithe and offering than if you're out there clubbing, you're out there spending money on drugs, you're out there spending money on alcohol. And then we wonder why we can't advance. It's because we're spending all our money on these things that are medicating the issues and the challenges within our lives. So I really believe it's lukewarmness, because I'd rather return tithe and offering than be out there spending money on all this other stuff. So I just wanted to put that out there that, you know, it's financially savvy. You can earn your leisure being an Adventist.
Have mercy. So, because you know what, it's funny you say that, because I just thought I'm gonna get Michelle's point in a second. I'm just remembering the preacher who got jacked on on his live stream. And anyway, go ahead, Mota. Go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
I wanted to say a little bit to what Ingrid was talking about. It is sort of this pie in the sky mentality. It's the idea that the things that I don't get to enjoy here on earth, I forego them because I'm going to enjoy them in next to come. And it kind of came from, you know, and understanding our roots as Adventists definitely would help us understand why people think like that. If we understood that, you know, when Ellen White when the Millerite movement happened, they got rid of everything that they had. They got rid of all of their worldly possessions, and they waited on this rock to be lifted and ascended and taken.
Rock.
And this idea of, well, we'll have to run to the woods anyways one day, so what does it matter? You know, this idea of I'll have to abandon everything that I have anyway. Why even enjoy living when I could just, you know, wait until the persecution comes in form of medieval terrorism, and as I run into the woods, then I will understand why I never bought a Tesla. I just think that sometimes, you know, that Tesla may save you in the woods, actually. But, you know, I just
you can just plug it in anyway.
You know, it's funny. I don't even like that car, but that's another conversation for another day. I would definitely be the one stranded in the middle of the woods with no charge. So, you know, I just think that a lot of times we just allow the ideas of things to, you know, it's not like we're not spending anyway. When Edsel was talking about what cancel my subscription was, my mind went to Truebill. Truebill is a platform that was created to help people unsubscribe from things that they don't even know they're subscribed into.
Right.
And I kind of look at our retreat as the unsubscribe button. It's going to alert you to some of the subscriptions that you didn't even know you had.
Right.
Subscriptions that you have told yourself are okay or acceptable, and you didn't even know that you're subscribed to these things.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know that they're subscribed exactly to what Ingrid just said. They don't know they're subscribed to this mentality of, I don't need it now, I'll have it in heaven. And it's like, God didn't necessarily call you to that life. Like, you know, okay, he didn't have a house, but he did have friends who took care of him everywhere he went. And that was his ministry. His goal was not to establish anything on earth. And there's nothing wrong with establishing things on earth, because if there was, he would have never said, whatever you bind on earth is also bound in heaven, which means that he respects the decisions that we make here on earth. And so I think it's really important to understand the differences between my cultural theological subscriptions and my not the tip of the hat, definitely. My culturally theological subscriptions that I am subscribing to tie in what both you and Ingrid said, and what I actually want to do with my life. Where did that?
Man, listen, man. My camera's like, what are we doing? How are we doing this all over again?
So he fixed it and come back. So so I hear that. I think that there's always I feel like in everything you need to find a certain level of balance.
Absolutely.
And I feel like too many extremes on either side will always find some there to be a problem. And I think that we have for whatever reason have found reasons just to safeguard a lot of things for the sake of our bottom line, and that bottom line, whether it's heaven or earth made new, etc. That bottom line affects other bottom lines. You know what I'm saying? That it affects the it affects a lot of other things in our life that will ultimately do well for us, do well for our families, etc. So yeah,
that's the same mentality that says I don't need to recycle or care for the environment because I'm going to heaven anyway. This earth is going to burn. And then we neglect our stewardship over this earth as Sabbath keepers, as people who worship the Creator. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, oh man, we sound like Democrats. Okay. All right, so pivot.
There are Republicans that believe in recycling, okay?
Yes, true. That is very true.
All
very,
7
very
of them.
true.
All 7 of them.
All 12 of them. Shout out. Listen, Republicans watch the podcast too. God bless y'all.
You sound like Jordan with the you sound like Jordan with the Jordans. Republicans buy sneakers too, right?
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one to start off. All right, anybody else? What's a subscription you think is important to mention? I should put somebody on blast. I'm sorry, I didn't do that.
I think a subscription that's important to cancel is the idea that I need to be married in order to be happy and whole.
Whew.
Mercy.
Okay.
Cancel that. And that's pervasive in the church because people don't know what to do with single people.
No.
We need to cancel that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can't leave family life unless you're married.
That jug is huge, Mota.
Because you don't have a family life unless you're married. What's that?
Drinking water and minding my business. I just knew I needed a lot of water for tonight.
Man, where is Dr. Blair and Sister Blair? I hope they're watching the podcast tonight. Our family life directors for Northeastern. Talk about it a little bit more. Why? Talk about it. I'm not even going to touch it.
I mean, my thing is like, one, the people in scripture that we learn the most, that have written the most about marriage and sexuality are people who weren't married. Both Jesus and Paul, right? I remember before I got married, I preached a sermon about sex, right? About godly, biblical. Oh, man.
You don't put it to your camera, bro.
Mercy.
Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
What is going on? Mota got this. Go ahead. I'm gonna figure this out.
I don't know. Okay, fix it.
You can just highlight the black screen and keep talking.
I know, right? Yeah, you know what? You know exactly what I'm gonna do. Come on, guys. Everybody is watching. No, this is the podcast.
There we go. I didn't even do anything. But yeah, I preached something about biblical sexuality. I studied the scriptures. I didn't need to talk from any experience. I looked at the Word of God. I used some common sense, and we were good to go.
Okay, somebody's asking. Explain it a little bit more. Now your microphone is gone.
Edsel.
You see them in the comment section now. They were quiet the whole time. We talk about finances. Nobody had anything to say. You say sex, and then now suddenly they have something to say.
Mine wasn't as controversial. They all agree.
Shaking my head. Let me pull my mic out.
Talk to us. Go ahead.
All right. So, hold on. I'm pulling out my mic.
Okay, give him a second. Yo, this better be good for all of.
All right. Y'all can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay. All right. So, the whole thing. I remember I preached a sermon at my church on sex, biblical sexuality, right? Just studying the Word of God. Everybody's shocked. How does a pastor know anything about this? And it's like the people we study this from. Jesus spoke about sex. Paul spoke about sex. We're not questioning them. We're not questioning their credentials. So again, the subscription that we need to unsubscribe from is I cannot be happy or whole unless I am married. What this does is that it causes, oh my goodness. Oh,
just keep talking.
Just keep talking, man. Just keep
what
talking.
this
It's
does
gonna come back.
is that it causes people to wait until they finally get married, if they get married, to build healthy and whole relationships. Fellowship is not regulated or only limited to what you can have within marriage. You can have close friendships. You can have close and meaningful relationships without ever being married. And you can be happy in that state. You can even be whole in that state. Paul says, I wish all of y'all were single, right? We got to believe Paul was fulfilled. Paul was whole. Paul was happy in his state. And as long as we let marriage be the finish line, the goal that we cross before going to heaven, man, people in the church are going to be miserable.
Yeah. It's a key statement.
Yeah. People in the church that are married are miserable.
Mercy. Wow.
It's this idea. I'm sorry. It's the idea that somehow being conjoined to another human being removes misery.
Yeah.
And that's just what on earth? That is so preposterous. Like, if you can't be happy with yourself, how on earth could you be happy with someone else? And Edsel, I love that you're the one that brought it up.
Oh, yeah. No, I had to bring it up. Because if y'all had brought it up, then it would be like, oh, they're only bringing it up because that. And that's like,
well, you know what? And it's confessions, right? The fact of the matter is, when you're in the church, right, it's all about, okay, oh, you grew up, you went to school. Oh, you went to school, you started a career. Oh, when are you going to get married? There's no conversation of who are you? Do you love yourself? Do you know who you are, right? So I was married for almost 10 years, right? Was almost 10 years. And I didn't start to really learn who I was until I started to go to therapy and figure it out. And at that point, it revealed so many things to me that I should have learned about myself before marriage, which would have put me in a much healthier position. So yeah, we do a huge disservice in not educating our youth and our young adults to learning who they are and gaining their identity and their happiness within themselves before they try to link themselves to someone else that's supposed to be for the rest of their life, and they end up living miserably.
100%.
Yeah,
and misery loves company.
But can I fight for the little old lady who? Okay, let me change that narrative for the person who's gonna come at me in the comments for doing that.
Describe her. Go ahead.
But that little old lady, I'm not gonna fight for her.
Augustine, I'll say that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight for her, the little old lady, but I'm going to speak for the little old lady and why what their ideology is. So let's also call it what it is. There's a lot of pride that the generation before us has in creating said family. I mean, not to get into Game of Thrones a little bit, but there's a certain importance that family has towards creating lineages, right? And so that, for some weird reason, has been sort of connected with doctrine to make it seem as if it's a biblical thing, which is not. Which I guess we have to unsubscribe from. But there is a pride that your family, and then by extension your church family, has towards seeing people get a family, gain children, et cetera, et cetera. And so they somehow try to find a way to merge in whatever creative way, try to find a way to merge the gospel truth with that, because the reality is they just want you to continue on the lineage. So
you do that to me, Duddley. You say, "Oh, I can't wait till you have kids." You said it's me. Tell me something.
Yo, bro, I'm waiting, bro. I want to be an uncle.
You cut that out.
That's what it is.
You cut it out.
And some people just want to be grandparents.
You cut it out.
Mota, come back, sit down. Mota, come back and sit down.
And so you don't have to have any
babies. Edsel, fight it.
You don't want to.
See this? Meanwhile, Call Duddley midday and hear what's happening in his background. Hear what's happening. That's what he wants for me.
Shade!
That's what he wants for me.
Look at my little girl JoJo. Why wouldn't you want to have? Why could look at Joe? Look at JoJo.
See this?
Look at little JoJo.
He's
Come on.
He's adorable.
He's part of that subscription. I just want you to know.
You know?
I'm not. I understand. I don't believe that you need to be married to be happy.
Okay.
So I completely agree with you there. But then I can understand why people fight for it.
Yes. I don't think it's wrong to fight for it, but I think that we miss a huge step, right? And that's helping to educate people about themselves, right? And helping them to make conscious decisions, right? So the other thing that we ignore within that is this whole idea of being equally yoked. And I know this is a different conversation, right? But
oh boy.
But within this same subscription, right, we push for marriage, and we push for marriage for people that we see in the church. Oh, see, brother so-and-so over there, he's so sweet, but really and truly, he's the devil, right? And you two are not equally yoked, because the fact of the matter is your ideologies are not intact just because you're both in the Seventh-day Adventist church. And so I just feel like there's a huge step that's missing. It's fine. Yes, marriage is great. It's wonderful. It's lovely. If the individuals that are engaging in that act and in that partnership are two whole individuals that know who they are, know what they want, and have certain conversations before they take that step.
100%. Just because you agree that the 7th day is a Sabbath does not mean that you are equally yoked.
You see,
and also, sorry.
No, go ahead. And also, go ahead, because I was just going to say a joke.
And also, the belief that getting married will make you happy leads to a lot of heartache. Like, if you're waiting for your partner to make you happy, there's a major problem, because your partner can't make you happy.
Yeah, at least the false expectations.
Exactly. Like, you've got to be happy and then get married. Or you got to know how to manage your own emotions and then get married. Like, but to put it all on this other person, you got to make me happy? Nah. No. You don't know how to be happy. How am I going to make you happy? You don't know how to be happy.
Thank you.
True.
Thank you.
And with that being said, as a married man, I'm happy.
As am I. But I also remember the stigma, you know what I mean, of being single and trying to figure this thing out and keep clean hands. You know what I mean? Like,
mercy.
You know, I remember, if we didn't have this topic, you know what the topic was going to be today about, do we need to get married?
Yes.
And y'all going down that line. And I see, if we was going to do it, we might as well have done it. But you see, anyway, it is what it is.
Spirit leads, Duddley. Stop it.
Spirit leads. All right. So, okay, good. So that's wonderful.
No. And one last thing. When we hold on to this, nah, I'm not gonna go there. I'm leaving it.
No.
That's why. That is what.
The camera doesn't want it. See, the spirit said no. The people have to come to the retreat to hear the rest. They got to the retreat to hear the rest.
No, it's not. No, Edsel.
Well, all right. What I was gonna say is, it also causes people to stay in unhealthy marriages that they're not supposed to be in. This idea that I won't be accepted in my church if I get divorced.
Yeah.
It's not. It's the church has to be a safe place. And of course, we know God hates divorce. We're not advocating for divorce.
No.
But God also doesn't want you to die or to lose your soul because you stayed in this marriage. You know what I mean? Like, there are people who are experiencing domestic violence, and they're staying, risking their lives and the well-being of their children, because what is my church going to do if I have no support system? People need to know, if I get divorced, I still have a space in my church. My church will know how to love me.
And that conversation at the retreat about divorce is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot. That's actually one of the things that I'm looking forward to, because that is a discussion. That is a topic that, let's just call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
With 3 ministers on this podcast, nobody has a solid theology towards this thing. Nobody does, because the more as time has gone by, the more nuance we find certain circumstances and how to deal with them. And so for someone to see divorce and the idea of divorce to be as black and white as they want it to be, you're fooling yourself. But please register. Cancel my subscription. The 2022 Young Adult Retreat, sponsored by the Youth Ministries Department. Make sure you register. NECYouth.org. Make sure that you register. $75. Amen. Okay. So, Mota, what you got? Oh boy.
I had a few. But I'm gonna pick one.
Okay.
So I'm canceling the subscription of Being the Nice Girl.
Oh.
Mercy.
I thought you were going to just turn off. No.
It's still on. Okay, all right. I thought it
Duddley became a great dot on the screen. Not the lowered hat, Duddley. I'm gonna explain what I mean by that.
Yes.
Okay.
So, as it may come as a shock to everyone watching this live, but these are confessions.
Mm-hmm.
I am a single female pastor in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And a lot of times I get asked the question of how is it dating as a pastor? And I always tell people it's difficult because unlike the men, there is an unfair disadvantage to being a woman dating in general. Like nothing to do with the pastoral title, but just being a single woman is hard enough. So then add to that the title of pastor.
Mercy.
And all of a sudden, sometimes men feel really comfortable doing things that they know they wouldn't get away with some hood chick down the street. But because I'm the pastor, the nice, kind, Jesus, grace exhibiting, mercy giving, chance allowing person.
Keep going with the adjectives.
They do things. They do things that just, make one say, really? So when I say I'm canceling my subscription of being a nice girl, the nice girl, what I'm saying by that is just like Edsel pointed out, the church also needs to be a place. Yes, Miss Augusta. Absolutely. It is being out of control. And the truth is, niceness doesn't only extend to opposite sexes. It also extends to same-sex relationships, my friendships with girls and my friendships with family. Sometimes being the nice person is confused for letting people steamroll you. It's confused for a lack of boundaries.
Yeah.
It's confused for a lack of allowing yourself not to be demoralized in the name of kindness and niceness. And I want to be seen as someone who is acceptable. And sometimes those socially acceptable standards just set you up for a lifetime of misery, pain, and hurt. So when I say I'm unsubscribing to the nice girl mentality, it means I'm hood and holy. So cross me if you must, at your own risk. Okay. So it just means that I'm not going to allow people to mistake my kindness for, how do I say this? Naivety. I'm not going to allow people to continue to say, oh, but nice girls don't do that. Or, the concept that nice girls finish last. There's a reason why these things are said, why these mentalities are perpetrated through time. And the truth is, the more time I spend as a pastor, single, female, and pretty, the more I realize that people are just really people, and people be peopling. And sometimes calling them out on their peopleness, as I did today on my IG, you can go watch my story. Sometimes people be peopling, and it's just very annoying to continue to be the nice person and allowing them to continue to perpetrate this behavior as if it's something that's going to be socially acceptable. Other people may accept it. I will not, because I'm unsubscribing to the kindness. So.
That was perfect. That was perfect. The camera just said,
you want to watch the story. You be back.
This thing. It's out of shape. My camera's out of shape. That's what's going on.
You forgot how to connect it. Yo, Mota, listen. I think I'm not even trying to promote the retreat at this point. But I think it's important to hear certain things and certain perspectives. Mm-hmm. I was very ignorant to this. Like, I receive what you just said, because the plight of being who you are specifically, you know, you, Pastor Hawley, you know, I think about a lot of
Pastor Blake,
pastors, you know what I'm saying?
Pastor Langley.
Pastor Langley, hey. It's a plight.
Pastor,
you know what I'm saying?
No, she's married.
No, but she's married. Yeah,
Oh.
Patrice is married.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I completely, I didn't know. I didn't, and I think I received that. I just wanted to let you know I received that.
I'm gonna confess something that I'm not afraid to say publicly about this. I was asked to go and speak for a week of prayer in Maryland a couple of years back, and I was there. I was the guest pastor for Metro SDA Church for a week of prayer for youth and young adults. And I specifically remember going to lunch with Claudia Allen, who's a really good friend of mine. And Claudia told me how she had to block someone who tried to ask her for my information. And she's like, well, you know, she made the quote, she's here for a short time, not a long time. So what do you want with her information? And the man made it very clear to her that his intentions were not good ones. And so Claudia was like, no. And she's like, I'm not giving you her information. You want to find her, go on Facebook, go on Instagram. And really, it's not just me fighting for myself. That kind of support, people who can see other people's motives and just say, don't do that.
Yeah.
I respected that so much more than just our friendship. Like, it took us to another level, because to me, it was so amazing to see someone else step in that gap and say, I'm not going to let you do this to my friend, or I'm not going to let you, you know, yeah, she's a nice person. Don't take advantage of her kindness. And I think that that's so important. And that's what I'm saying, when it's not just male and female, it could also be female and female, because sometimes your girlfriends will test you. Sometimes they'll push you and they'll put you in positions that will make you like, whoa, what's going on here? And I think it's important to understand that it's okay to be nice, and it's also okay to set boundaries. Right. Both can be true. I can be pro-marriage and pro-divorce, which I am. Both can be true. As a matter of fact, a quote says the sign of intelligence is the ability of holding two juxtaposing ideas in your mind at the same time and being able to defend both of them. Yeah. Because life isn't black and white, and everything is not always clear cut. And so the fact that I'm able to be a friend to someone by creating a boundary is amazing. It's the idea of, hey, I'm the pastor of the church. Don't call me after 10 o'clock if you're a man. That's simple. Yeah. And those kind of boundaries sometimes bother people. It makes people look at someone and say, oh, you know, oh, she's this or she's that. No, she's someone that has a good understanding of who she is, what she needs, and more importantly, a good understanding of self. And I think that a lot of times we just dismiss that when we see someone who's willing to set up really clear boundaries. Right. So I'm unsubscribing to kindness.
100%. And the nice programming that women receive, men receive it as well, but women receive it on a different level, because once you set up boundaries and they call you names, right? If men set up boundaries, we're called assertive, he's strong, he's firm, he knows what he wants, right? Once women set boundaries, suddenly then the obscenities begin to fly. Because you know,
culturally, we create it from young, right? So like, I have 2 young daughters, and I'm very intentional and mindful about how they interact with people. And so I don't force my daughters to hug everybody, you know, to be overly friendly with everyone, you know, no. because I don't want them, because it's very deeply rooted in it is a subscription we've had for years.
Right.
We have little girls in church and we tell them, oh, go hug brother so and so, go hug elder so and so, go hug deacon so and so, and they grow up with this mentality that they cannot create boundaries, especially at church, because everyone is supposed to be so loving and kind to them.
Absolutely.
And then people take advantage of that. And so I wholeheartedly agree that needs to be canceled. Absolutely.
Yeah, because when you ask people what's nice, they don't have a good definition for you. Like, we can define kind. That's being considerate. That's being accommodating. That's, that's good Christian love, right? But nice, nice is really code word for do what pleases me. It's
Right.
like kind of left open. So what ends up happening is that, especially for women, I see it where they end up ignoring their instincts when their instincts are saying, no, don't walk down that road. Don't go get in the car with this person. Don't go on a date with this person. Be like, oh, but I want to be nice. And it's like, no, you can be kind and be firm and say no and set boundaries. But this nice business, like, predators prey on nice.
Yeah.
They know that women are programmed to be nice and are less likely to say no to things that they know are unhealthy for them because they want to be a nice girl.
Right.
And some guys, want to be nice guys. So
all I'm thinking about is how, in my Haitian culture, how we were raised to kiss everyone.
Mm.
You would be disrespecting people.
For real. You know what saved us?
Say it again.
You know what saved us? COVID. But I'm done.
Yes. And now
yeah. Yo, how many adults, people had to walk by, whether your parents were there or not there. If you didn't stop and give them a kiss on the cheek, that person was going to tell your parents and you were going to get it that night. And I'm just saying, anyway, I received that.
And then there was that dude in the
corner.
There was that dude who just knew, because you got to make the rounds, right? And I'm not talking about us as men. I'm talking about, we'll do this to the women. Yeah. Take advantage. This is him before the kiss. This is him before It's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. One who was waiting for you to show up to the, you know what I'm saying? Or it was like, hey, where's my hug?
Yeah, they still exist. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I hear that. Okay, I guess it be cutting out.
Y'all don't want me on this podcast.
So mine. So I had several too. The one I want to lean on tonight is the subscription that there's still something I need to do for my salvation.
Mercy, Lord.
I am tired of being I'm tired of being that Adventist. I'm tired of Adventism feeling the way it feels, in the way in which people have subscribed to a narrative of this work-related connection to God, where at this point, if you have not read your Bible to see how clear every chapter, every book, and the entire sentiment relays a narrative that speaks to a people with one clear reminder: you can't do, allow me to do for you. If that isn't the quintessential idea of what the gospel is, I don't know exactly what else we subscribe to. I'm reminded of what my girl Ellen says in the book Education. She says in the book Education, page 126. She says, the creative energy that called the worlds into existence is in the word of God. This word imparts power. It begets life. And every command is a promise, accepted by the will, received into the soul. Being the word of God, brings with it the life of the infinite one. And so the life imparted is like manner sustained. By every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God shall man live. Let me come back again to say the words of my girl Ellen. She says that the creative energy that called the world into existence is in the word of God, and that the word of God imparts power to be like God. Every command now is a promise because that word imparts power. And so we are like God because of the word. Now, if I were to do a quick change of quotes in this text, I can easily take out the phrase word of God and I can put in Jesus, literally the name Jesus, because the word of God is Jesus. Jesus is the word became flesh and dwelt among us. And so for me, when I look at this and I read that, and I read that the creative energy, the energy, the power that allows us to be like God is in the word of God. But I take out the word of God and I put in Jesus. I then begin to understand that the way in which I become like God is in Jesus. And so now Jesus imparts power. And so now Jesus begets life. And so now I don't necessarily have to subscribe to the actions of thinking that there's something that I have to do or some way in which I have to perform. But all I need to do is stick close to Jesus. And as you stick close to Jesus, Jesus imparts in you a power to be like someone that you wouldn't be if you weren't with Jesus. And so I can't stand the pressure of feeling like you have to dress away, eat away, talk away, move away, live away, in order for you to gain some validation in your spirituality, rather than allowing us to understand the truth that comes from Ellen herself. That Ellen herself says that every command is a promise. Every commandment is a promise. I'm going to say something very controversial on the Confessions podcast. I don't believe that God desired or intended for his people to keep the 10 commandments. Mm-hmm. I don't. I don't believe that Adventists, your goal is to keep the commandments. I don't believe that. What I do believe is what my girl Ellen says, that every command is a promise. That the 10 commandments, which is not even called the 10 commandments, they're actually called the law of the covenant. And if you know the covenant, you know the covenant is an agreement between God and Abraham that says, Abraham, if you believe in me, I will do for you. And so this law is an agreement that if you have faith, I will do for you. And so every command is not a command to action, but a promise of what the Lord will do. It is every thou shall not is a future imperative. It's you will not do these things if you're with me.
That's it.
You will not worship any other gods before me. Mm-hmm. Thou shalt not. You will not, have any other great, worship any graven images. You will not take my name in vain. You will, remember my Sabbath day and you'll keep it holy. I am, and I needed to become a pastor. Mm. I remember that conversation we had long ago, E. I didn't know. I was in the church all of my life, and I didn't know the grace that comes with the Adventist message. There's not enough. Look at Shade is playing an organ.
Is that the appeal?
You know what I'm saying? I don't subscribe to the work that I have to do. I subscribe to the relationship that I have to build. And the promise of knowing that relationship allows there to be a change that happens in me as I continue to build a relationship.
That's it. Every commandment is a canceled subscription.
God!
I was just about to say that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Every commandment is a canceled. It's a canceled subscription to adultery, a canceled subscription to lying. It's all canceled.
Yeah, that was that's big for me. So I was at. I told you guys, or at least I told Ingrid. I don't know if you guys got on by the time I got on, or by the time I said this. But this weekend I was at the New England North Hispanic retreat, and it was so amazing. Well, first of all, I think retreats are designed for it to be very intimate, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But
they're beautiful,
especially being with a lot of those youth and young adults, and the premise and the struggles that a lot of youth and young adults are going through in the way in which they are associated. The church that ultimately the church is doing such a bad job in allowing us to realize that the church is the space to find Jesus. Yet it seems as if young people are finding Jesus in every other place but the church. That's so disappointing. It's so disappointing that there are so many people who are finding, kindness and certain, basic principles of joy and hope and things from everything else, sermons from, your TikTok and whatever the case may be. And it was just, it was a bit disheartening. Even though I'm happy that everyone, had some level of connection to faith and had, some relationship with God, but that it seemed as if the church had been, for a lot of people, a hindrance to their particular growth rather than an aid. And whenever you get to a point where you become what Jesus mentions in Matthew 13, where he speaks about the parable of the sower, whenever you get to a point where your heart becomes the heart of the rocky soil, that the sun, which is supposed to come out and allow the plant to grow, ultimately chokes and withers the plant, that becomes a problem. When church is supposed to be the thing that allows the people of God to grow, and it becomes the thing that chokes us simply because we have rocks or we have subscriptions that we hold on to, things that we keep underneath that we think are good, and so that plant grows up quickly. But when the sun comes out, it scorches that plant and it kills that person's spirituality. And there are many people who are leaving the church because they were subscribed to some things, that they had some rocks underneath their surface that they haven't let go of. And so it's simple things that they find in the church that's supposed to allow them to grow, certain things like prayer meetings and sermons and all these different things are supposed to help them to grow, tend to become the hindrance, tend to become the things that allow
people. But you know what? I think part of that is because, when you have a subscription and you set up your account to just kind of pay it monthly automatically, and after a while it's like that thing is just there. You don't have to think about it. It's being paid, so it's just going to be there. It never gets canceled. I feel like that's what church has become. It's just that thing that has been there for our lives. So Sabbath service, Wednesday evening prayer meeting, those things are just like the automatic deductions that we experience from our bank accounts every month, every week, church service every week, prayer meeting every week. But we're not intentional about utilizing what we're supposed to be getting from it. You know what I'm saying? You're paying for this subscription. You're supposed to be using it intentionally to get what you need from it. And I think those are the things that we're not feeding ourselves with it. We're just letting these automatic deductions be taken week after week after week, but we're not benefiting from it.
Right. Yeah.
Can I say something? Unpopular opinion. I was talking to my friend this weekend. She's a pharmacist, and we were talking about the symptoms versus the problem. And when I see salvation, and this is just being, really frank, Duddley, when I see salvation in the church model, We focus more on the symptoms, meaning if you're saved, then you keep the Sabbath. If you're saved, you won't lie. If you're saved, because these things are the the catapulting agent to you becoming saved. It's you do these things so then you are saved. Whereas I understood that it's because I'm saved that I exhibit joy, that I exhibit good behavior. It's in gratitude for, and not because I want to be. And I think that's the issue. If we keep teaching it from the perspective that in order to attain salvation, you have to, and anything after that, those words,
that's a problem.
Is a problem. Because the only thing that the Bible ascribes as the way to salvation is accepting Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Everything else after that is a manifestation that acceptance, and not the other way around.
Okay, let me just say this. It's confessions, and let me just say this. But you know what? Sometimes that doesn't work well in allowing the boat to continue to keep moving.
But it should. See, and that's
you're right. It should.
If it's taught correctly. If it's taught correctly, right? So one thing that I'm really getting on my church about is this regathering post-COVID, right? I've been telling them over and over again, like, you guys need to come back to church. And it's not because I don't believe that COVID is still out there. It's not because I don't believe that the monkeypox is still out there trying to get somebody. It's not those issues. The reason why I always tell people that we need to fellowship is I remind them that Jesus went to the synagogue every Sabbath, as was his custom. And I said to them, that doesn't mean that after he went to church, he didn't go and do things, because he did go and do good things afterwards. It was the come to church because this is what Christ did. Like that fellowship, do not forsake the fellowship with fellow believers, is a real thing. Like we need to have people that are struggling like us, that are struggling against and for us. All of it grows us. And so I explain to people it's in community that we grow. I'm not telling you to come to church because coming to church is going to save you. That's not what I'm saying. I said, come to church because in church, you will find fellowship. That's it. And I explained to them over and over again, like the more that you draw away from church, the more you fall into this comfort of, I could just watch it on YouTube. You go into this place and you forget that, hey, my salvation is not based on me coming to church. It's not even close. I can accept Jesus, walk away from church, and still be saved. That's it. And we don't like to teach that because we're afraid that if we're honest with people,
they won't come.
Oh, well, then I'm gonna show up. I won't show up. I won't come. Like what? No, that's not. No. Go ahead, Edsel. You're itching.
Two things. One, if the only motivation for people to do stuff is to go to heaven, then they're probably not in a saving relationship with God. Right. If it's because it's not about, like, if you imagine you're married to somebody and like, because we ask this question, like youth ask this question all the time, like if I do that, then is it a sin? Or if I do this, then will I go to hell? And it's like, I just want to know where the line is so I can do as much as I can and get away with it. And that's not relationship building. You imagine you're married to somebody and they're like, so if I do that, is it cheating? Oh no, it's not. All right, now if I do this, right? That's not a good. That's not a healthy relationship. Like that, and that's what a lot of people try to have. You know what I mean? Exactly. The other thing I was going to say is that this is another place where works seeps in. A lot of people step into works at the appeal. So a powerful message is preached, a song is sung, and they go up and they say, God, I'm never doing this again. And I'm never doing that again.
Good luck.
And you don't realize, like, hearts are earnest. I've done it. I've said it. I have gone up for appeals in this very same way, right? But what ends up happening is that once you say, I'm never doing this, I'm going to start doing that, you're saying in my own power, I'm going to start now doing this.
Right.
And right at the moment when we should be surrendering, we're doing exactly what Israel said, where all that the Lord has said we will do.
We will do.
I got it. I'm gonna take it on, right? And then we wonder, like, man, it's Wednesday and I'm back in my foolishness. It's Monday, I'm back. It's Saturday night, I'm back in my foolishness.
Exactly. But
and
I think it ties back. Sorry.
People start to wonder if God is real. Yeah, God is real, but we haven't understood how to receive His grace and the power of His grace. Go ahead.
But I think it ties back to even your topic, Edsel, and what you were saying about marriage, right? I think one of the greatest disservices that we do is we don't teach people relationship, and we don't teach them true happiness. We don't teach relationship with other people. We don't teach it with Christ. And then how we can't build healthy earthly relationships. We can't build a healthy heavenly relationship. And I think that's one of the things that we really need to start moving toward.
How, Ingrid, can you build relationships if you don't know how to have them yourself?
But well, if that is admitted, right, it is at least a start, right? And not just that, but the fact of the matter is, if you allow those who have learned to start to step in, then you can see some real change. But the problem is, we are too, we're too afraid to allow that. Look at the conversation we're having right now, right? If we were to go into some churches and say we want to have this discussion with young adults, they probably look at some of us like we're crazy. But if they would just admit that, there are some individuals that have taken those steps to learn these things, and it is important for them to interact with the youth and the young adults and teach them these things, we would be in such a better place. And that's why everyone needs to come to the retreat.
Hey,
I want to say, so I want to go back to what you said. There was something you said about the person that went to the altar, who ultimately went to the altar and then made the mistake of thinking that they can do it under their own power. I want to speak to that person, young or old, or young at heart, or however you identify yourself as. That I think, what I don't want you to walk away from this is to say that the premise behind why you walked to the altar was wrong, because I think it was genuine.
It was genuine.
I just think it was just misplaced. About how to actually allow that, how to walk in that, and what to do, what happens next. Because there are a lot of people who, what they did was, because when they walked away and on the Tuesday they went back to their former life, they're like, then what's the point of getting invested in this thing if you're going to constantly get disappointed? And so that you just give up on the relationship entirely. And I don't want people to subscribe to that. I don't want people to get lost in the idea of the yearning for you to be with God, and the recognition that you are in sin is true and it's real. But instead of you trying to do it, recognize that the better news is that He wants to do the work for you. He wants that His yoke is easy. Yoke is easy, not yolk from egg. Yoke is easy. His burden is light. That He wants to do that. That turns the good news from good to great, because it's not just that I want to take care of your situation, but I want to take care of your situation by not allowing you to deal with it. By dealing with your situation is me dealing it for you, and not you dealing with it yourself, or not me giving you the answer to do with it.
But can I say, there is still a burden.
Talk to me.
So the Bible says, Jesus says, take on my burden, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. But there's still a burden. There's still a yoke. So, and what I mean by that is, even Christ shows it, right? It's not the idea that Dietrich Bonhoeffer said about cheap grace, right? Because he talks about how we can cheapen grace. But Paul talks about this in Romans, when he's like, okay, so now that I know that Christ paid for my sins and he covered it all, do I just continue living in sin?
Sin? God forbid.
And he says, God forbid. Right? So I'm glad, Duddley, that you're drawing us to that, because it really is something that we should be struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Jesus paid it all, literally.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I cannot do this in my own strength.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, are we to continue to sin?
Mm-hmm.
God forbid.
God forbid.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sometimes the issue with these conversations is that because they come, as Chi Daniel said, from an inauthentic place,
Mm-hmm.
they stray either two to the left
Mm-hmm.
or two to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it goes from, doesn't matter what I do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
And it also goes into, these are the list of commands of the 28 fundamental beliefs that you have to keep to go to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I applaud our generation and those that are coming behind us that are unwilling to subscribe to this is the way and walk in it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
God.
I am so happy that we challenge and question and push barriers. Even sometimes I wonder if I'm going to get calls from Dr. Jules. Sometimes I'm like, assistant ministerial director, ma'am, you know.
Right.
Sometimes but the truth is, I'm happy that even Dr. Jules has created an environment where we can talk about these things,
Right.
where we can honestly explore, what does it mean that I'm saved, not by my works, but by grace alone, yet I'm also expected to live a life that shows that I'm saved. Like those conversations are the ones that we are now starting to have in open dialogue form for everyone to see and to chime in and talk to us about their own struggles as we all confess together. So I'm just, I'm excited, Duddley, for our Cancel My Subscription series. So make sure that you're going to come, because these are the kind of topics that we will be exploring and talking about, and definitely debunking some of these myths about what it means to be subscribed to Christianity.
Right.
And Adventism at that.
Yeah, I want to make sure we have that link in the chat. I put it up there a little earlier. Listen, guys, this is going to be a retreat you do not want to miss. And it is because it's not going to be sermons. It's really going to be a lot heavier. I know that it seems weird, right? It's going to seem a little even more heavier than that. And the ability for us to have conversations, meaningful conversations about things that that speak to us, but also come from us, I think will be good in the sense of liberating us, giving us a peace in a lot of areas that either we know we need liberation from, or we didn't even know that this is a problem. This was something that I was dealing with, and the way somebody articulated it, the way, the presenter brought that up, I didn't even know I was dealing with this pain. I didn't even know I was dealing with this issue in my mental health. I was dealing with this in my marriage, or I was dealing with this guilt based on the fact that I got divorced. All of this, I think, is going to be important. This is going to be a weekend that is so filled with a lot more content and a lot less fluff.
Yeah.
And we hope and pray that you register, make your plans to get there. There are so many different hotels and motels in and around Victory Lake, that camping conference center, that you want to make sure you get your spot and you're able to come to this. A great lineup. All of my peoples here, as well as other speakers, will be there, so you do not want to miss it. Make sure you register right now. $75 ain't nothing. It ain't nothing. So make sure that you register, and we look forward to seeing you October 7 to 9 at Camp Victory Lake in Hyde Park. All right, guys. Thanks very, very much. This was good. The only thing wasn't good was Edsel's camera. Whatever you gotta do,
Edsel.
whatever you got to do. Did you resort to going back to the regular like laptop camera?
No. I stuck with it. I'm gonna stick beside him. This is my camera.
We can tell. We can tell.
Let's stick beside him.
Is that your camera, Edsel? Is that your camera, Edsel? I'm gonna stick beside him.
I'm gonna stick beside him. You know what people should do though? People should cancel the gym membership that they're not using anyway for 3 months, and then just use that to come to this. So
that's a good idea.
So my gym membership is $35 a year to LA Fitness, so I ain't canceling that.
Okay.
Can you bring a guest?
Good deal. You got a good deal. You got a good deal.
Oh my! And we want to make sure that you all know. There's no way we're getting your question. There is no way. Sorry, that's what happens when you live in California.
Yeah.
We want to let you guys know that this podcast. We want to hope that this is just an extension to a certain level of ministry that really catering to you, to who you are, to what you particularly need, and that hopefully through this and through the retreat that you find some peace, some hope, and ultimately some good fellowship. I want to tell you, we have a lot of things planned for this retreat. You do not want to miss it. Make sure you follow the Northeastern Conference page. Follow us on Instagram, Northeastern SDA or NEC AYM on Instagram for all your information in regards to updates in regards to the retreat and things that are we looking out for. We look forward to seeing you there.
Hey, Duddley, we got to shout out the GOAT for tonight. Definitely Davisha Augustin.
Yo, for real talk.
Yes. She's definitely the MVP for the night, for sure.
Yes.
Yo, listen, we are not exegeting.
That's why we don't get questions.
Goodbye, Marquis.
Nah, man. Nah. We want no parts of that.
Keys, man. Listen, go come register for the retreat.
That's right. You can mark your personal.
Register for the retreat. Register for the retreat. All right. Listen, it's 10 o'clock. I think we did good.
Yes.
On behalf of myself, Mota, Ingrid,
and my
Edsel,
non-working camera. Yep.
And
the black box on the
Oh, this is not signing off, guys. This is not signing off.
I've been signed off. Later.
Have a good one. We'll see you guys next time. Confession
Not
Podcast.
too long. Not too long. Soon.
Not too long. Yeah, not too long.
We got a retreat plan. Bye, y'all.
Peace.